Who says there's nothing good on the internet anymore?
Welcome back to the Geek Cave Podcast. I'm Darren.
Chad Savage.
What's my name? Oh, man. Identity theft is real. And it hurts. I'm the real Chad Savage.
I'm the real Chad Savage.
Have you had this
You're
problem?
a dick.
The Geek Cave Podcast, powered by BuzzTime and Shirtosaurus.com. Downloading now on iTunes and Podbean.com.
Welcome to the Modology Motorsports Podcast, Season 1, Episode 4. I'm Blake.
And I'm Marcus.
And Marcus, the gods have shone on us. And this last month, we had sunshine, we had better weather. And
Well, you had better weather.
Yeah, you at least had sunshine.
For a day whilst I was at work, but yeah, not really.
And dude, we got some stuff accomplished since the last episode of this podcast. Should I just go ahead and jump right into it?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, on my large list of things, the brake master cylinder on the Civic was leaking, and there's a video up for that on our YouTube channel. And I changed my brake master cylinder. And it's nice to have brakes again, because you could hold your foot on the pedal and at a red light, and it would just sink to the floor. And it was getting to the point where it was getting sketchy. I'm like, if this thing just completely goes out, this is kind of terrifying. So I need to do something about this. So I ordered a brake master cylinder. I got it put in, and I changed the clutch master cylinder about a year ago. It was leaking. It adjusted with the vacuum pump that I use in the video to find out that my clutch is almost shot. The pedal is almost all the way back out before the clutch catches. So. But my question to you, have you, the clutch, August will make 3 years on that clutch. Is that about right? How long should you get out of a clutch? Keep in mind, it was like a stock replacement. It wasn't a performance clutch at all.
I would probably say that's bad.
Okay. Well, I haven't exactly been gentle with it either. So
No, it's all of those racing starts you've been doing at the lights.
Well, right after I put that clutch in, I put the chip in, and that gave me the launch control. So I'm pretty sure that didn't help my clutch much.
That's more than likely going to be putting extra stress on, but it could be anything due. It could be that you don't have quite a decent mating of the clutch and the plates all together properly. I'm not sure. It really depends. I mean, the only way you're really going to find out is when you pull it out and see what the state of the clutch is.
Yeah.
Take some photos, send it to me, and then we'll try and figure out what the hell's wrong with it or what happened.
It's one of those things too, where if it'll just last. I mean, it's not slipping yet, so if it'll just last a little while longer until I put the Civic on bricks, then that'll be fine, because I'm not going to go back to a stock clutch once I turbo the motor. So yeah, if it'll just last me another year or so. I've been behaving now that it is the way it is, but if it'll just last a little bit longer, then I'll go with something a little stronger for the next build.
Yeah, it might be worth it, but you just got to make sure that you don't go too far that way. Otherwise, it'll just be undrivable, like day-to-day use.
Yeah. Like I drive up a hill coming home, and that'll be kind of my testing point when I'm coming up that hill and I start to feel where the motor's still accelerating, but I'm not going any faster.
Yep, that's definitely time, and at that point, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so that'll be, like I said, I'm just trying to baby it as I can for now, just to keep the car running until I can get this Accord going. But yeah, I was just curious, 3 years, what you thought of that, if that was...
Personally, personally, it's one of those things where I think that 3 years is pushing it onto the sort of like not great. I'd probably say if you've got them heavily modified on it and you've put an OEM clutch back in, 3 years might be all right. I mean, I don't know how far, what over the previous brake horsepower you are now from what you were before.
Yeah, I don't imagine it can be a whole lot. I mean, it's just the computer chip, an intake, exhaust header, and that's pretty much it for now. I've lightened the car up a lot, but
yeah, I would have thought that 3 years your clutch still should be pretty spick and span at that point.
Well, it was a hard 3 years for that clutch. So
some angry driving.
Yeah, it was.
I got a little bit done. So after I got my paycheck this month, I ordered a new expansion tank, an alloy one in sort of crinkle black. So that should be coming by the end of the month. I sat down and, literally sat down in my car, pulled my steering wheel hub and everything off and put it all together with the new racing wheel and the hub at the moment. So I'm looking at possibly getting a removable one soon, but it depends because I've now got to sort of move everything else around now that the steering wheel's in a different position, etc. So it's been fun and games. So on top of that, to get to that point of being able to do any of that, I actually had to move my dad's 1930s Buick outside into the rain. Blankets on top of it, tarpaulin, ratchet straps keeping all the tarpaulin down. I moved like his trailer one side of it and my van the other to act as windbreaks to stop anything from picking up the tarpaulin at all and whipping it around and all the rest of it. And that sort of that gave me a little bit of time to get some stuff sorted, and I got a lot done. So out of all the things that I needed to get done, I went and managed to get the lower ball joints on both sides, which I sent you a picture of me and my friends blowtorching the one of them off because they were so ground into that. I mean, the one that we were blowtorching off that I showed you, the ball joint had disintegrated to the point where it had almost welded itself to the other side. It completely collapsed. And, that was pretty bad, to be honest. I mean, we had to blowtorch the other one, and I also had to angle grind the nut at the bottom because the previous owner had obviously tried to change it and had rounded off the bolt on the bottom. So I had to make it square, and then I used one of those like universal sockets to stick on the bottom of it to get it off.
Right.
Yeah, that was a pain in the ass. It literally took us all day to get those done because how welded and pretty much destroyed the bottom ball joints were. They were awful. After getting this done at the end of the day, we also got the brake warning sensor swapped out as well, because that was, as I said before in the last time, it ground itself almost down completely through the sensor when the previous guy had driven it to the point where the brakes were literally like a millimeter thin. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So we got all the wheels back on, and we were so excited. We drove it out the garage, and my dad arrived, so I had to move the car back into the garage quickly so my dad could get his car parked up. I took it out for a test drive. Turned left out of my house, drove down the hill, drove up, and went round the top end of where I live. Suspension feels great. I'm really happy with it. And I start feeling a slight vibration in the steering wheel.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, okay. I put my foot down on the brake very, very lightly. And as I do that, I feel a jolt in the steering wheel. I think, oh shit, my brakes have I've done something wrong with the brakes or something like that. But no, what actually happens is my front left wheel departs from the car
Oh no!
and disappears down the road and lands in a ditch.
Oh,
You know, it's like 4:30 in the evening. It's starting to get cold. It was starting to rain. You know, it turns out that when me and my friends were putting the wheels back on, we got all excited so much that we didn't really check that last wheel, that one wheel.
right.
Because when I drove it out initially out of the garage to see how it looked with all of the suspension, I moved it forwards and backwards a little bit to settle the suspension down so it didn't look like it was on stilts.
Right.
And when we drove it back in, my dad parked up. I noticed the locking wheel nut was on the floor, and I was like, "Oh, the little bit that sticks into the actual the nut itself in the wheel." I was like, I didn't really think about it. I said, "Oh, we're idiots. We left a stupid locking wheel nut left in the wheel, doofus." Not thinking, 1 and 1 didn't make 2 at that point. It made 0.5. I didn't get anywhere near close to what was going on, and it didn't dawn on me at that moment that we'd done the wheel nuts up, but only tight enough to get the wheel on before dropping it down and then properly tightening it up, so properly torquing it up. Essentially what happened was, as I was going down the road and I put my foot on the brake, obviously it put a little bit more tension in that front wheel and it pulled all 4 bolts out of the hub.
Oh no! So you lost your studs and your lug nuts.
Yeah. Pretty much the whole entire. Well, I didn't have studs on. I don't have studs in my wheel. It's just literally bolts that go into the hub.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, which is what's changing. I'm going to be, now that this has happened. I was going to be doing stud conversion on it anyway, so that it actually properly has studs. And what happened was when it did that, it pulled all of the thread out of the hub for all 4 of the bolts, and the front end of the Mini fell to the floor on the left-hand side, and the new ball joint that we'd put in, including the new ball joint hit the floor, but obviously it didn't hit the floor itself, the ball joint bit, but the nut and the threaded part of the body that goes through the bottom arm hit the tarmac and ground all the way down almost to the arm as I was driving along. So I've still got to fix that. So might end up having to angle grind it off at the bottom and then knock it out. But it should be a lot easier to take it out. I went ditch diving, found my wheel, walked that back to the car, then walked back down the road where the wheel had come out from the front wheel well. It had pushed up part of the bodywork, so that there were 2 pieces of trim, one that sits on the front part of the bonnet and one that sits on the part of the A-pillar, and that literally shot off and was in the middle of the road. So I walked back down the road, picked those bits up, stuck them underneath my arm, found the alloy wheel center locating plastic locator sort of ring, and walked that back, or pushed that all back into the back of the wheel. Thankfully, because it's no more than probably about 5 minutes away from my house, my dad came down with a breaker bar and a jack, and because the Mini's so stiff, I can literally just shove it back underneath close to the rear, and I jacked it up, and the whole entire left-hand side of the Mini came up all in one go.
Nice.
Yeah, which isn't too bad. Cracked off 3 of the remaining bolts out of the other wheels, and then put those into the hub. But because the threads had been stripped and ripped all to pieces, I had to cross-thread those 3 bolts into the hub, let the Mini back down again, and then drive it home.
With your fingers crossed?
With my fingers crossed, yeah. So the moral of the story is check all the bolts before you go out for a drive after you've pulled apart all of your suspension, all the rest of it. We checked everything else. It was literally that one wheel. And it annoys me now thinking about it. But I sat down whilst I was on the side of the road waiting for my dad to turn up. Sat down on the side of the road thinking to myself, I can't really get mad with my friends because, one, they're helping me out, and two, because at the end of the day, it's my project. I'm overseeing it. I should have checked before anything else happened, and we did anything, but I didn't. So, ultimately it's down to me. It's my problem. But, silver lining, it didn't happen before we went to a meet where I would be racing down a straight, coming to a corner and put all of the weight onto that front left-hand side wheel and braked at the same time, or braked just before it and then turned in. And the whole entire front end would have dug in, and I possibly may have tipped the Mini over and rolled it. So, silver lining and all that.
Right.
So, final list of damage to list it all out. So, side trim for the bonnet and the A-pillar. The anti-roll bar arm that affixes from the anti-roll bar to the top of the front left-hand side upright is destroyed, so that needs to get changed out. Obviously, 4 bolts that got pulled out of the hub, plus another 3 that I've used off of the actual car itself. Obviously, a new ball joint, which is stupid because we've just changed one out. So, but they're cheap, so it's not too bad. And because we've already taken out, it'll be really easy to put back in. And yeah, as far as I'm aware, that is all that's wrong with it so far. But yeah, that's pretty much what's happened with the Mini so far.
How did the exhaust sound? Your new exhaust?
Really good, really good. I mean, it was puffing out a bit of smoke, but I've got the funny feeling that that's where it's been, where all the mandrel bends and stuff like that have been done, and I think there might have been some leftover oil on the inside of the piping from where it was stored, because it's oiled and stuff like that when it comes out.
Right.
So I think it was burning that out, because even though I had driven it from when the exhaust was made, like 2 yards to the back of the trailer, and that was it. So I don't think it had ever gotten up to temperature.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's either that or once I've got all the wheels sorted out and double checked and all the rest of it, then I will probably have to take it out for a quick check and see whether or not it still does it. And if it does, then I might end up having to take the engine apart to check to see what's going on with it. But it's early days on that at the moment, so I can't really say much more.
Right. Well, you have too, but I recorded my first vlog and uploaded it to the channel.
Yay!
And I was nervous. I was really nervous for some reason. I guess it's because it's so much different than just podcasting, where the first couple of videos I put up, I didn't really have myself on camera, and I was like, well, we need to change that. So if we do a bunch of videos, they know, the viewers know who we are. But there's so much that happens when you're working on cars, like kind of like behind the scenes that all gets left out. Like, especially when I'm doing a help video or an instructional video of just changing, parts on the cars, or replacement parts. There's a lot that goes on. Like, I think it was the brake master cylinder video for my car. Like, I recorded the whole first scene, the opening bit to it, to only realize that I never did hit record on the camera. So, and I talk about that in the vlog.
Yeah.
I got all the stuff I need now to actually try to have a quality production, and when I'm doing these videos, or I've kind of got everything I need to start, making videos of some of my friends' cars. And one of those is a microphone. I'm using for right now, I'm still using my phone as a camera. I've been looking at some cameras, and I found out the mic will work with those. But at first I didn't understand why the mic wasn't picking up. Like, it was still use the mics on the phone. Well, there's an extra cable you have to order. And it has to do with, if you look at the 3.5 millimeter plug, it's those little bands that are on the plug.
Yeah.
Some of the plugs are 3 sections, some of them are 4.
Mm.
It had to take the adapter pretty much takes one of those bands away. That way it doesn't try to send sound out through the microphone. It just takes sound in through the port with that adapter cable on there.
Yeah.
And it works really good, and it's nice and clear. But I found out you have to be in front of that microphone if you want it to pick anything up. Which, with it being directional, that's something I should have thought of in the first place. But there was a video I made. It's I'm changing the motor mounts on my wife's car. I used the mic recording that to find out when I was done that anytime I was behind the camera, everything was really muffled. So today, before we recorded this, I took all the audio out of all the clips, changed it from MP4 to MP3, uploaded it to Audacity, and then amplified the audio for each one of the clips. So when I finally finish editing the video, I can add the new audio in, and hopefully it'll be a little bit louder. But doing all that, I learned a valuable lesson, that this a directional microphone for a reason.
Oh dear.
You said you had some trouble with the Mini and the wheels. Well, my wife came home here a while back, a couple weeks ago, and said, look, the car is shaking, her Focus. So the car is shaking really, really bad. It's got this real bad vibration. And I thought, well, these tires on it are shot, so it's got to be something with the tires. Well, we went to the store, and we got to the store, which is about 20 minutes from the house. And I said, well, let me just walk around and look at them. And it was the front passenger side. It just so happened the spot was on the top, but across the middle where the tread was, you could just see this flat spot right across the top of the tire. And I said, uh-oh. I said, well, there's your vibration. And she said, what? I said, you got a broke belt in this tire. I said, just come apart on the inside. And she said, what do we do? And I said, I hope we make it home. That's what we do. But I've had her new tires sitting in here in the office, and I was just looking. I don't know what I was waiting for. I had them. Getting them was the hardest part, I guess, and then just getting them put on would have been easy. But I told her, I said, well, I'll take your car in the morning, which was a Saturday, and I'll have your tires put on. So I got up the next morning. You drove her car. I said, just come on, tires, make it one more trip, and this will be it. Drove it to this little tire place down the road, and for $50, I got the new tires mounted. I got from Simple Tire. They charged me, it was like $10 per tire to mount. And that included the mounting, the balancing, and disposal of the old wore-out tires. And then he only charged me like $10 for labor to do them all. So between getting the tires and getting them mounted for 4 brand new tires, I've only got like right at $200 to maybe $220 in that whole project.
That's not bad at all, really, is it?
Right. She was thrilled. She's got it rides so good now, and it's so quiet. I got a couple more things I need to fix on her car. It's kind of got to where once I got the motor mounts fixed and the car is like quieter to drive, everything else is kind of fallen by the wayside. I still got the shift solenoids to put in. The hardest part of that will be just scraping the old pan gasket off the transmission pan.
Oh, yeah.
The rest of it's just changing bolts and pouring new fluid back in and replugging and unplugging and replugging electrical connectors. I ordered new wheel bearings and hubs for her car, and I've ordered this press kit to press the old wheel bearings out. You can leave the whole knuckle mounted on the car, because otherwise you're going to take the whole knuckle off, take it somewhere, or have a press and press the old bearing out. But with this, supposedly, you're supposed to be able to leave it on the car and just press the bearing out while it's in there, which would save from it having to have another alignment. And it's just had brand new tires put on it. I'm hoping this kit will work.
Fingers crossed on that one then.
The shift solenoids, they need to be replaced. It's not anything detrimental. They've been bad pretty much since we bought it, but they just need to get done. And then like fuel filter, oil change, and that car is done. And then I'm not spending any more money on that car.
You hope.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I mean that's an open-ended I hope. Yeah, I hope that'll be it. But yeah, the weather, like I said, the weather has been a little better. In some of the newer videos, you'll see the sun was shining and the birds were singing. And it hasn't been, even as of late, it hasn't been below freezing since the last podcast we did. The trick with the Civic is when it starts warming up, it stops kind of leaking antifreeze. But it's just, it's because it's warmer and the metal is not expanding as more. It's expanding, but it's not contracting as much because it's cold. And it gives you this false sense of hope that it's all going to be okay. I ordered this week on Friday, this last week, I ordered the head gasket set and new head bolts for the Accord. So next chance I get, I'm going to go ahead and pull the cylinder head off the Accord and hopefully get started on working on it to get it running. And with my clutch problems, the Accord is a 5-speed, and I took the battery out of the Civic once, and I was kind of in there playing around, and the motor will turn over, but the motor will rotate, but it won't start. I was kind of just checking all that to make sure it wasn't seized up, and I got myself in a bigger problem than I thought. But when you go to hit the clutch pedal, if you push the pedal in, it's like the pedal is already in, and it's stuck, like in. You pull it out, but it just pulls the pedal out. Do you know what I mean? It's like the clutch isn't engaging, or it's...
Do you reckon when they put it in that they never got it mated up correctly?
Possibly. I don't know. I mean, because the guy had been driving it for a while before...
Yeah.
Unless it's rusted to the flywheel, maybe. That's all I can figure.
Could be that someone sat in it at some point and pushed the clutch down.
It had the pedal down, for a while, and it may have mated with the flywheel.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe it was just a case that it was rusty anyway, and then when they put the foot down, it just pushed it down in.
Yeah.
So it engaged the clutch and then just sat there and never moved back.
Right. So I'm hoping maybe once I get the engine rotating, maybe that'll... Because it's, you can still put it in neutral, so I'm hoping maybe it'll work itself out. But I don't want to spend too much money on the car, like just buying everything I can right now. My first goal is to get the car running and then kind of go from there. Because I was thinking, well, I could change all the rubber, change all the hoses, but right now I want to hear the engine run before I start throwing too much money into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you want to get that bad boy turning over so you can listen to it and see whether or not it's clunking, rattling, or just plain old fucked.
Yeah, which I hope not, but it's a very real possibility. I got one last thing with my love for dash cams that I mentioned in the last episode. I got a dash cam for my wife's car. We're talking to my stepdad here a while back, and he's got a Garmin GPS unit in his big truck, which I put a video of it up, a little video of it up in the Facebook group. I was checking it out, and he said it's also a dash cam. I was like, really? I said, would you be interested in saving some clips for me? And he said, yeah, sure. He said, but I need an SD card. And I said, well, I've got a couple. I said, you're more than welcome to one of them. He said, well, didn't you want a dash cam? And I said, yeah. I said, we're getting ready to buy one or two. So he tells me if I'll give him an SD card, he'll give me a dash cam. So it was one he had bought with his own cash, and the Garmin one, it kind of came with the truck. So I gave him the SD card, and we got a dash cam, and it's just a matter of getting it plugged up and going. The only problem with my wife's car, though, is it's powered by the cigarette outlet socket, and she doesn't have power to the socket. The fuse is good. The socket's plugged in, but there's no power. I've tried a couple different things plugging in it, and there's just no connection. So I got to find out what's wrong with that.
Which fuse did you check? Because obviously you got the fuse in the actual cigarette lighter itself, but then you'll have one that goes back to one of the main fuses in the fuse box. Yeah,
I pulled the one out of the fuse box. It's got the picture of the cigarette on it, and it was good. So I'm not real sure.
Might need to get your multimeter out and start doing some continuity testing.
Yeah, he told me the socket just may be bad altogether, maybe corroded or something on the inside.
It's always possible.
So that's my only holdup right now as far as getting that dash cam going in her car, because there's a lot of things we're out riding around, and we'll almost see an accident or see somebody acting crazy on the road, and I'm like, yep, need to put that dash cam in here.
Yeah, maybe I'll stick my GoPro on my dash whenever I drive and see whether or not I can find anything for you, and we can dump it all together.
My father-in-law told me he's already got, I talked to him again the other day, he said he's already got a couple clips for me.
Nice.
So I'd like to put up a quarterly video on the YouTube channel, maybe, every season change, upload a new video of just a compilation of our clips.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
But as for that pretty much catches us up with everything that I've been up to. So what else have you got?
Well, unfortunately, Blake, Modology UK has been a sad sight lately.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So my daily driver, the Mitsubishi Lancer Estate, when we were driving it the other day, when we took the kids out to Longleat Safari Park, and we were driving through the Lions enclosure, and the check engine light came on.
Oh no!
And
Oh, no.
I was like, okay. We carried on through. The engine didn't make any undue noises or anything like that. Everything sounded perfectly fine, but obviously something was awry somewhere. Last week, I booked the car in to go have it checked, see what was going on with it. And the check engine light was something to do with a couple of the sensors. And what's happened is that my catalytic converter on the car has, it's so old that it's blocked up. And when it blocked up, it was giving false readings to one of the sensors, which meant that the engine was overfueling, and it's in turn then burnt out two other sensors.
Oh no.
And the total bill for just parts, because I was quite happy to do it all on my own, put it all back together, get it all sorted, but the total for the parts alone, even if I was getting them secondhand, was more than what my car is worth.
Oh man.
I reluctantly decided that it was time to get the old shotgun out, drive the Mitsubishi around the back of the house, and pull the trigger. And
just look at the flowers. Just look at these flowers.
yeah, I drove it so it was facing the wall, and then shot it from behind. The Mitsubishi is no more, so I was going to be doing a sort of like walkthrough of my daily driver at some point, but I think that's going to have to sit on hold for a little while for that. I might do a video on my my VW Transporter and a few other bits and pieces. But the good news out of this is that I'm going to be getting a new car.
Hooray!
Now, it's not just a new car to me. It'll be a new car to the world. As in, it's brand spanking new. It's a 2018 plate Toyota. It's a Toyota Yaris, of all things. So not something particularly exciting. We got the car, or we wanted to get the car to be a sort of A to B daily driver. It's nothing special. It's got all the mod cons in it. I've never had like a proper new car since like 2004, 2005, something like that.
Yeah.
And obviously all the bells and whistles, my phone automatically connects to the car. I can make phone calls and all the rest of it. These things were very new to me. I'm used to having, seats that barely act as seats, let alone a car that actually will see that a car's stopped in front of it, and if I'm going 30 miles an hour or something like that, it will put the brakes on for me if I don't put it on first.
Right.
I was looking through all of the specs and all the rest of it, and thinking to myself, all these things I've only really noticed recently by paying attention to what's been going on with cars. It's got automatic lane assist, where it'll tell you if you're not indicating, it'll moan at you that you're going outside of the lane and stuff like that. It's all
You'll be able to take a nap on the way to work.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, so bad news, daily driver is dead. Good news, I'm going to be getting a new daily driver, which should be coming the 19th of next month.
It's so new, it wasn't even on the lot. They still got to build the car.
Yep. And this, because of the way the plates are coming, this is the first. This will be one of the first 2018 number plated cars. A lot of people have been buying cars lately so they can get number plates with the 18 in them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, apparently it's a thing. I don't see it as a thing, but apparently it's a thing.
Huh.
God knows.
You'll have to do a walk around of it when you get it and show us all the.
Yes, definitely. I will camera that car up and take it out for a proper spin and go through every single thing as I find it. So it'll probably be a horrendously long video with me suddenly squeeing over some random thing that, I've just found out and is cool. But yeah. I mean, it's not top of the line, but it's above mid range. We went for in the end, and it's
brand new,
and it's brand new. It's the first time in a long time where I've been sat in a car that I can honestly say that nobody else has driven it.
There won't be. You'll have all those new car rules too, like no eating in the car and no. Take your shoes off. Just take your shoes off when you get in this car. This is brand new.
Well, the first rule was that we are not having the dogs in that car either. So the dogs will be renegated only to the van. They're never going in the car unless it's an emergency. But yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest. Apart from getting a few other bits and pieces for the Mini. I completely glossed over the fact that my dad has taken the Caterham out for his first races, and he's doing well. I think he's like 3 or 4 races in now, and he is currently top of the leaderboard for the year so far. So we'll see whether or not he will defend and keep his title.
That'll be crazy. We'll have one video up of the Caterham on the rolling road with a bad idle, and the next video your dad's winning races in it.
Yep, true.
That's great.
So I've got some video of the Caterham now. Following on from your issues that you were having with microphones and stuff like that, I had issues where, in my hastiness to try and get, I managed to get a hold of 3 GoPros and mounted them to my dad's car late on a Friday night, just before I was going to leave for Nottingham for a 4.5-hour drive, trying to get it so that the kids weren't going to be screaming their heads off all the way and all the rest of it.
Right.
So I hastily put these 3 cameras on Dad's car, set them all up, and hastily told my Uncle John how to use it with the remote control so that they all started recording simultaneously, so that I could sync them all up and get them all sorted at the end. And when I've been looking through it at the moment, I've realized that all 3 of the cameras were all on slightly different frames per second.
No.
Yeah, so they don't all quite match up, which unfortunately means then as well that the audio that I was using on one of their cameras, which is the good audio, doesn't quite match up with the rest of them, even though at the beginning I've managed to match it up. Slowly but surely they come out of sync from each other, and it's a source of much frustration for me at the moment. So the video is done, but I'm now currently working on trying to fix the audio enough so that it doesn't sound absolutely pants. And also then do a voiceover to it, talking about what's actually been done to it and all the rest of it, to give a little bit more of a heads up and of what's going on with it, and catching everybody up with how it's going, really. Like, I've had quite a few, well, we did have quite a few comments about certain things that they were querying was wrong with it when I was talking about the original issues. And I wanted to get through and get this done before we did this podcast so that I could say it's up.
Right.
But no, it's not up. It's been sat in my what I would call editor's purgatory for the last few days whilst my car died, and we were running around trying to figure out whether or not our finances could afford getting a new car, or if it was going to be a second-hand car, or etc. So now that we've got that sorted, and I've got a few other things to get done, I will fix the audio as best I can. It's probably going to be a random video, but hopefully it should cover all the basics that we wanted to cover for the questions that have been asked so far. But yeah, that's pretty much it, really.
Well, not only are you getting a new Toyota, there was another new Toyota that was announced around March 5th or so.
Yep.
Toyota put out a teaser picture on their Twitter. They said this, it's I can't remember what the exact phrasing of it was, but return of a legend or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I remember. I remember that. I think it was Return of the Legend.
And I spent some time trying to figure what could it be. There's only one thing I had in mind that they would be bringing back, and we called it. We nailed it.
Oh yes,
The Supra is coming back.
definitely, and I'm looking forward to seeing it in its full glory when they finally release it out to the public.
Yeah, I'm so ready to see this. Now, the edition that they showed at the motor show was the full race version of the Supra. But as far as specs, it was kind of limited. You know, they didn't really talk a whole lot about the engine or what kind of power plant it's going to have. And you're seeing it with a wide body kit and a big spoiler and all this stuff on it. But yeah, I am super excited to see what the actual production edition of this car looks like.
So, are you super excited or super excited?
I'm super excited.
Oh dear, they should have hashtagged that. Hashtag super excited.
Exactly.
Yeah, blatantly.
Well, we didn't go in a lot this episode as far as news or didn't really have a feature because I feel like we had so much that we got accomplished on our own cars that we had plenty to talk about. But we do have our top YouTube videos for the last 28 days.
Yep.
Marcus, you want to give us the top 3?
Yep. So, number 1 is not the Caterham 620R video anymore.
Oh no, what happened?
It has been dethroned and dumped down the pack. The number 1 video at 2,686 minutes of views is the Ford Focus radiator replacement.
Everybody's radiators must be exploding.
And that's what I'm thinking. I reckon after all of the cold weather, especially in England, everybody's doing their radiator replacements. It's either that or the Ford Focus is absolutely crap with their radiators.
Yeah, or they got shit radiators, one or the other.
Yeah, one or the other. Number 2 is the Caterham video at 2,203.
So it's not too far behind.
No.
Minutes behind.
At one point, because of the way that it works it out per month, obviously, if on one day it was almost neck and neck, and on the next day the Ford Focus radiator pipped it by like 3 to 5, and then the next day it jumped up to 100 on top, and then 200, then 300. So you can see it's been slowly dropping down as people have not been paying more attention to it, which is why I want to get another video up. And yeah, so the deficit at the moment is like 400 and something views.
And these are minutes viewed too. These aren't actual like just straight views. This is the minutes viewed on these videos.
Yeah, so I think in reality, the Caterham video has had more views, or is still getting more views.
Yes, yeah.
But the Ford Focus radiator is actually being watched longer because I think people are looking at it and doing some of their own stuff. And I think you actually got a comment the other day. Was it yesterday?
Yeah. Let me pull it up real quick. I had my first comment on the video.
Yeah.
Said, thank you so much. So freaking helpful. And I was like, oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Glad I could help.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what we're here for. So hopefully we'll be able to get some more videos up now that we've broken the back of it and we're having a little bit more of a happier time with the weather at the moment. But anyway, carrying on, the number 3 video at the moment is the Honda Civic Brake Master cylinder replacement at 135.
Quite a jump between 135 and 2203.
Yeah, it is. But, we're working on it.
All right. Well, I'm curious to see. I guess at the end of the year, we'll do a big recap and go back to I think one of the things you can view by is the last year. We'll see what was the most popular video, at least we'll do minutes for the month, but then we'll also do views for the year and see which one was viewed the most by the end of the year.
It's just weird thinking that, it doesn't feel that long ago that we came up with the idea of Modology Motorsports, and now we're already 4 months in.
Yeah, I know. There's so much. We've been doing so much stuff. I mean, especially this last episode, this episode, we got to do a lot. And I'm curious to see how, over the next couple episodes, as the weather just continues to get better, our show's going to be just chock full of what we've suffered through with our own cars.
Exactly. I mean, I'm hoping that I'm going to have some nice new videos of the Yaris when it turns up. It's not going to be, as I said, it's not going to be particularly interesting to people. It's not really motorsporty or anything like that. But, it's my daily driver, or will be a daily driver. But yeah.
And I'll finally get to take that stupid Accord apart and make sure it's not completely destroyed.
Yeah, man. I'm just sad that I can't help you with it.
Yeah. Well, I got this Milwaukee electric ratchet to give me a hand, so I'm hoping it kind of speeds up the process when I'm taking everything apart.
You can put like a picture of me on it and call it Milwaukee Marcus.
Yeah, here's Milwaukee Marcus. Give me a hand.
Yeah. I want to see that in your video.
That can be arranged.
I'll get a suitably crappy photo of me.
Put it right on the ratcheting head so your head will shake back and forth while it's turning.
Oh, yes.
All right, Marcus, let's throw out some social media and get out of here for this episode. What do you say?
Brilliant. Carry on then.
If you've got something for the show, you want to talk about your own car, have your own car to submit, have any tips or hints that maybe we missed out doing, work to our own cars, or comments on the videos, or anything car related, MODOLOGY motorsports@gmail.com.
Okay, and you can catch us on Twitter at Modology Motors.
On Facebook, we got a Facebook group. I post a lot of dumb stuff in there, of stuff that I steal from other groups and share my own. You can find us at facebook.com/groups/Modology Motorsports. And if you want to hit us up on our personal Twitters, be more than happy to talk to you on there, answer any questions that you have. I'm at Hesser414.
And I'm at Brunt_Marcus. So that's BRUNT_Marcus.
We got, what are we at, 56 YouTube subs now?
Yeah, as of day before yesterday, we got 56 subs. I mean, we had like 2 pop in, and then an extra one popped on like yesterday.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I was like, 2 or 3 in 2 days. But
yeah,
we're not far away now from the 100 subs.
Yeah, so you just need to make sure that you like, subscribe. Please subscribe, because as soon as we get up to 100 subscribers, we can change the YouTube channel name. And I'm so looking forward to doing that. I want to get that done before the end of the year.
All right. Well, that is everything I've got for this episode. It's been a full one for us, Marcus.
Yep. There's not much more I can say. I've killed a Mini. I've killed a Mitsubishi. And hopefully I'm not going to kill a Toyota Yaris.
I hope not. And I've thrown parts at everything I own pretty much. So we'll see how that turns out on the next episode, as far as if I've made any progress with anything, which hopefully I have. But that's all we got for this episode. Join us next time. But for now, this is Blake.
And this is Marcus.
We'll see you next time.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
The best, you fucking with the facts. Yeah. I don't even know what else to say. Let that 808 right out though. Yeah.
It's clunking, rattling, or just plain old fucked. So are you super excited or super excited?
I'm Supra excited. Email us at modologymotorsports@gmail.com. MODOLY. Wait, I screwed it up.
I knew you'd fail at some point. It's not just me that gets it all wrong.
Hey guys, I'm Zach.
And I'm Tim.
So, this is Plug and Play Podcast.
We talk about tech,
And video games.
lots of video games.
Lots and lots of video games.
We talk about Kickstarters.
We talk about life.
Talk about game news.
I Can't Let You Win. We talk about video games.
I think we covered that.
I don't think so.
We also talk about craft beers.
Oh, we do talk craft beers.
That's probably our favorite part.
Exactly.
Gotta have our tasty treats.
Exactly. So guys, check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, and all of our social media, facebook.com/Plug and Play Show, and Twitter and Instagram @Plug and Play Cast. And as always, you guys can find us on iTunes @Plug and Play Podcast. So guys, take a seat or hopefully you're not driving a car, but do something where you can legally grab a tasty treat, crack them open, and join us on the next episode of Plug and Play Podcast.
Cheers.